we are very excited to go to Omaha now. We have got the man in charge on the line, Jay Johnson, head baseball coach for your LSU Fighting Tigers. Coach, we truly do appreciate the time as always. I hope you got some rest, but my God, what a game last night.
Yeah, how about that? How's
Man.
everybody doing back home? I feel like we've been here forever, which is a great thing. So,
Absolutely. Absolutely. Coach, look, last night, so my son is 11U baseball, but they had their World Series in the Lafayette area, and they had their opening ceremonies, and every parent, I think, that was there was, like, excited for their child, but every one of them had their phone out watching the Tigers play the game from, like, start to finish. Nobody put their phone down. Everybody back here is certainly locked in. I think you would have enjoyed seeing some of the scenes from that last night. But you were busy. You were busy trying to go win a game against a very good Arkansas team. And, Coach, you say it all the time. You get 27 outs. You got to get us 27 times. Arkansas only able to get you 26, and what a ninth inning it was.
Yeah, first off, that's really cool. Thanks for sharing that with me about everybody watching. That's what makes LSU special and LSU baseball. There's not many programs like that even at this stage in that game would be tuned in like that. But you feel it here, and you definitely feel the support back home. And yeah, I mean, that's our saying. There's no clock in baseball, and thank God. And especially with this team, and they have a high level of belief. And I mean, we slayed a giant. That's one of the best programs, if not the best program in the country. And with great players. I mean, it was a high level of game, and sure there was some mistakes, which that's part of college baseball and how it goes. But our guys' just ability to keep showing up in the moment and just executing their plan in the moment made me really proud. And that's kind of who we are, and that's what we need to do this weekend.
Coach, we're getting the privilege of watching this firsthand. Every single pitch, every single hit, every single defensive play, and we're being able to see like what makes this team special, how special they are, always showing up in the big moments, always having each other's back. Championship teams have this like innate DNA to themselves that's hard to put your finger on, like what makes a team special. At what point during the season or off season, whatever it was, did you realize or have the belief that this team has the correct genetic makeup, the team makeup to be special?
You know, I don't know if there was necessarily a moment. I think I've just been very in tune and admired, I would say, their consistency to bring their best. And if you look at the season, especially in the league that we play, there haven't been a lot of downs or low points. We had a tough weekend at Auburn, against a team that was a number 4 national seed, as good as anybody. But outside of that, like, we've handled the success and the failure in stride and have continued to show up. And that's their best quality. And I think, we talk about making every game a playoff game. I feel like this team really did that. And the value of that is when you get in games like last night, you're trained for it, you're built for it, because that's how you've approached every game along the way. And I'm excited to see them continue to do that this weekend.
Coach, whenever you have a ninth inning like that, and there's so many different plays that I want to go over with you, but I also want to pay respect to people that might get forgotten in the buildup to that ninth inning. Zach Cowan, Jaden Newt, the job that they did going over 6 innings, only giving up 1 earned run. I mean, for Zach Cowan, especially, like, that's now over 8 innings he's pitched against Arkansas this year, has not given up a run to one of the best offenses in the country. I know that when you have, a dramatic ending like that, and we'll talk about those performances, I want to make sure we don't lose sight. And I know you haven't, of what Zach Cowan and Jaden Newt were able to do for you.
Oh, no doubt about it. And I'm super proud of him. He's had an unbelievable season. Like, we are not here without him. He had a couple bumps in the road the last couple outings, and that's how it goes when you're pitching at the end of the games and just leverage and you lose a couple. We had talked about, I got to know and kind of friends with Trevor Hoffman from San Diego, being in San Diego, and he talked about this thought of, as a closer, having a kind of almost amnesia when one goes bad. But I'll take it to another level with him. Like, after that regional final game where we won, but he didn't pitch great, he came in and we talked, and he's kind of got it to another level mentally, and he's already one of the most mentally sound and strong players that I've ever coached. I think I've said that with you a couple times, and I just felt like moment, circumstance, mindset, attitude, his arsenal, couple weeks off, little bit of a mental reset, he would deliver for us, and he was awesome. And I'm super proud of him because we're not even sitting in this position without the season he's had. So it only felt appropriate for him to pitch that way last night.
Coach, I want to ask you about one moment in the game and get your thoughts on what your mindset was. Bottom of the sixth, down 1-0. Arkansas decides to intentionally walk Pearson, and Jake Brown steps up and just absolutely makes LSU fans go crazy. RBI, talk about that decision, what went into that, and just what that meant to the team of him stepping up right there as a pinch hitter and getting that hit.
Well, Jake's one of our best players, and what a luxury to have one of your best players sitting there to insert him at that time. And, because of the pitching matchup, we had him available, and that worked out in our favor. And I told him before the game, it's going to be when it really matters. And it might happen early, because Beetlejuice, who did a good job last night, hadn't gotten that deep into games. But I said it's going to be with runners on base when they go to Gabe Gackle, who, in my opinion, is one of the best pitchers in the country. And it was really interesting. There was more than just, hey, let's get the hit to take the lead right there. I was actually thinking, like, okay, he's kind of getting to that point where if we have to play tomorrow, it's going to be tough for him to come back and be really effective because he threw like 90 pitches and then 3 days rest and then what he had thrown to that point. And then they had Gibbler down in the bullpen, who's really tough left on left. But I kind of went with, I have one of my best players available with the bases loaded who does a great job of slowing the game down, is ultra competitive. Like, let's get him in the box right now. And the only hard part is, like, Chris Stanfield is like one of our best players,
Yeah,
So
that's what we're saying. Yeah,
it just the righties had not done anything with Gackle.
Yeah.
I mean, he struck us out 10 times the other day, and I just had made the decision that it was the best for that moment, and then it was going to help us if we actually had to play them again today to have both of those guys thrown in this game last night.
Coach, we were talking about that, and we're talking about, kind of some of the changes in the lineup earlier. It's like, it really is like a Major League Baseball approach where it's based off matchups, but you don't see that often in college baseball. You kind of roll the same lineup out there often, more times than not, and you haven't done that. And we talked about it the last couple of weeks, like some of the buttons you and the coaching staff have pushed, they've really worked out, and those changes have come up in big spots. Certainly we can go to Hernandez, and look, I don't care what the path for the left fielder was. I mean, he tattooed that baseball last night and put pressure on the defense. And then, of course, Bear Jones. I mean, Bear Jones coming up in two different spots. He's hitting fifth in the lineup. He hasn't been there all year, but all these buttons that have been pushed have really worked out well because the biggest moments of the game, it's been with someone who hasn't been there all season long in that same spot.
Yeah, we work hard at it, but I said this last night, and I think it was in relative to a question about Jared and his preparation, and you guys are the athletes. Like, it's about the player executing in the moment. Mm-hmm. And then, my job is just try to take their strength and their skill set and align it to give them the best chance to be successful, and ultimately the team have the best chance to be successful. And that's what it is. And we pay attention. I will tell you, yesterday's was the most grind in a long time of how to figure it out and construct it and line it up with their bullpen and the starter. And, they've had a quick hook with him in the past. And, we were a little bit like, okay, Gackle's going to come in the game. This is the time he's going to come in the game. But this is what we need to do with the starter. And then they're going to go to Gibbler. And so it was tricky. And it really, really worked out last night. And, just like I said, proud of the guys for executing. I mean, Derek, getting the ball in play after 3 tough at-bats prior to that and hustling down the line. They don't make the play. We caught a break on the ground ball where they didn't try to turn the double play. And that's one of the best players in the country in Eloy. And then Luis, he tattooed it, and then Jared stayed on the ball. So that's what good teams do. You get a little bit of an opening, and you take advantage of it. And we've been like that all year. So to me, that was just very much in character of our team.
You know, Coach, it's so fun to watch Bear. Like, no matter like what happens, right? He can have a moment in the game, and you know the double play there, and he's stretched out. The ball falls to the ground, 2-run score. A lot of times, and we all know this. Like being former athletes, like we all know this. Like that can go two ways. Like you can go and you can feel sorry for yourself, or like you said, when that moment comes, what do you do? Do you step up and stand tall? And that's what is so impressive to me with him. Like no matter what the struggles are, no matter if it is a bad play, whatever it might be, when he is called upon in the biggest moments, tying the game up with just a mammoth tank to the opposite field, or to come up and win the game last night, that's not normal. Like not every athlete has that, but Bear seems like he has it in almost every time in absolutes.
Yeah, I'm super proud of him. I mean, just the growth over the 3 years has been remarkable. And I think, maybe because he's on the heels of some of those guys that were big name guys with, Dylan and Tommy, like people actually haven't talked about the caliber of career this guy has had at LSU. And, we're here in the finals for the second time in 3 years. And, you guys know how hard it is to get to this game and this stage. And the reason we're here this year is largely because he came back, for his junior year when he was draft eligible last year. And, it's had a tough first game and, did what competitors and winners do, got back to work and more importantly than work, kept his mindset right and has really delivered these last two games. And I'm very proud of him.
Coach, your team has proven to all of us that nothing's too big for them. The lights are not too bright. But you got a pretty tough job here in the next couple of days getting them ready to kind of hit that reset button after a huge emotional release last night, emotional victory. You got a job. How are you going to handle the next couple of days with mental preparation, physical preparation, emotional preparation for your team and getting them ready? How does the next couple of days with a schedule line up for you, and how do you handle it leading up to this championship series?
Yeah, good question. And the first thing I told them last night, it was chaos at the stadium. And so, like, we got on the bus and came back. It's like, hey, man, it's like straight to the meeting room, like right now. And the first thing I said was like, hey, look, obviously within reason, but you guys need to enjoy what we just accomplished tonight. Like, I'm an idiot if I don't allow them to do that. And I wanted them to do that. It was a electric atmosphere when we got back here, and I wanted them to spend time with their families. And you don't get nights like that in your life very often. We've luckily had a couple of them here in the last 3 years. It's amazing that how similar those two games were. But I wanted them to enjoy it last night. I want them to. They're all sleeping right now. I should say, I want them to sleep. There's not even a question. They're all asleep right now. And then we kind of found a good flow with the position players late in the season. We've asked a lot out of a lot of guys. So today we take them in small groups of hitters and just get them, kind of their individual light work in. It'll be really short and not taxing. They're going to lift today. Got a couple pitchers that need to throw off the mound lightly and touch the mound. We're taking them to Fleming's at 4:00 because that's what we do. You advance to the next round. You go eat a steak. So now the tough part for me is I got so much to get ready for the series. They're going to Fleming's, I should say. I'm going to be sitting here. Hopefully Jared Jones can bring me a doggy bag or something like that. And then we're gonna have a meeting tonight at 9:30, and then to me it's like, okay, that's the complete reset and focus on this next deal. We get to go in the stadium and practice tomorrow, which to me, like that's one of the best days of your life. Is there's two teams out of 307 practicing tomorrow.
Wow.
And so we'll go in there. The wind's going to change. The conditions are going to be hot, a little different. Want to get reacclimated with, the park's going to play a little differently than it has. Coaching staff, totally locked in on doing what we do to get prepared, to get lined up for, a team that's a juggernaut right now. They've won like 26 games in a row, and playing very well. And then Saturday is great. I mean, it's 6:00 p.m., that's the times we've played, 3 of the days here. So we'll be able to stay in a similar routine and get ready to go. But I think if any team, we won't take it for granted what we have to do to shift the focus, but if any team has proven that they know how to do that, it's this team. And then we'll get them lined up for what each guy on the roster needs to do to execute in the game and go for it.
Coach, I mean, you remind me so much of my first coach when I got to LSU, Coach Saban, just in the way you go about your business, the way you prepare for a game, the way you get ready for an opponent. And so, like, this time is different than the last time that you got to the championship series. Last time, you played another game and you had to come out of the loser's bracket. And, so many decisions I'm sure last night played in your mind. Different guys would get up. Exactly. Like different guys, like we saw Anthony Einson pitching a little bit there in the bullpen if he had to come in to the game. But like now that it's hit reset and you didn't have that extra game, what does this feel like as you prepare for Coastal Carolina, which I know you've already watched tape on them? Like how different is it now that you didn't play that extra game compared to the last time you got there? Like, does it like truly feel like a complete reset for you, knowing that now everybody's available? Of course, last time, Paul Skeens didn't pitch in the championship series, but now everybody's a full go.
Yeah, thank God, by the way. Because, I didn't want to say anything the other day. There's nothing anybody can do about it, but that rain deal split day, we were already in bracket 2 where there's a little bit of a challenge in that, which if you're in Omaha, I don't ever care about that. But but there was a little bit when we got the lead 2-1, it was the last 9 outs were going to be Chase and Anthony, and we're going to win it last night to give us the best chance to win the national championship. And then, the end of the game was chaos. And I do want to say, Chase Shores has been unbelievable here. That was even last night, third time in 4 days, and he got the ground ball, and Michael did a good job. Danny tried to turn it. Jared tried to stretch. We almost got out of that inning, and now you're 3 outs away in a 2-1 game. And that got lost because of all the chaos in the 8th and the 9th inning there. And then it was going to be Anthony in the 9th, and then it was tricky because I felt like if it got to tomorrow and we had to split the game between Cade and Anthony, we were going to be in great shape. But that was going to significantly hurt our chances of winning this weekend if we had to do that. So we went pretty aggressively at it. And then if it had gone to the 10th at 5-5, he was coming in the game. I was like, there's no way I'm letting this team – with the effort they just gave to get back to 5-5, there's no way I'm letting this team lose this game. And that meant Anthony was going to trot out there.
Yeah, I'm glad they finished it. I'm glad LSU is ready to go. And, Coach, you got everybody rooting for you back here, certainly. I told you a story about the World Series last night. That is a factual story. Everybody's watching it. Coach, I've told you this before. I've got 5 kiddos, as you know, and our baby girl 2 years ago, she was about to be born. My wife is in the hospital bed ready to go, but she's watching LSU and Wake Forest. She does not tell the doctor to come in until Tommy White hits the walk-off home run. Hand to God, this is a true story. We're all watching the game in the hospital room. She is in the bed or about to give birth. Tommy White walks it off. She says, all right, you can call the doctor in now, and then had our baby girl about 10 minutes later.
Let's go. So for her second birthday, let's win another championship.
Let's go. Absolutely. Let's go. Coach, you're the man. Can't thank you enough. I know what today's like for you, not only with responsibilities, but trying to get your team ready for a championship series. Again, we're all rooting like hell for you back home. Cannot wait to watch it this weekend. We appreciate it.
All right, guys. Have a great day.